Well, hello, welcome to I Love Gay Today, sponsored by gayrealestate.com. And we are here with a friend, Joan Cox from Baltimore. How are you, Joan?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Matt.
I was really looking forward to this. I was on vacation for a little while, so you're my first interview after coming back, and I was just like I was ready to jump into these things.
Nice. Fantastic.
And but no, you and I connected. And I was going to say we'll have a fun time talking about all that you do. But you and I connected first through the business world, and that you're in Baltimore, and you've really kind of been a true LGBT business leader there in Baltimore through the years that I've known you.
I have tried. Yes, I served on the board of the Maryland LGBTQ plus Chamber of Commerce as board president for a
Yeah,
number of years and on the executive board, and was really instrumental in founding that chapter here. And
yeah,
since attended the NGLCC conferences where I think we probably met.
yep.
And yeah, I'm still involved. My day job is graphic design, marketing, art directing. So I still do all those things for our local Maryland LGBT chamber.
Yeah, no, that's the whole thing. It's you've got such a great segue. You were leading the chamber. I knew you through your design firm Peacock, correct?
Yes, Peacox Design. It's a play on my last name, Cox, C-O-X.
Oh,
So
yes.
my company is Peacox Design. And
Yep.
that comes from my wife calling me and my brothers and my father all a bunch of peacockses. That we're very showy and colorful. And yeah, so when it came time to find a name for my design firm, it was no doubt Peacox.
Yeah. But then when I was down there, you invited me to come down and present as well in Baltimore. And while I remember while we were there, especially after the presentation, your art was all over, in the space we were in, your art was all over the wall. And that's when I was first introduced to the amazing art that you do.
Oh, thank you. That's right. That's right. I had a solo show entitled Tomboy
Yeah.
at a large gallery slash co-working space. So they had co-working downstairs and they had gallery and theater upstairs, which is really great.
Yeah.
So the show was called Tomboy, and then we hosted the chamber event downstairs where you talked all about, media, social media, and other, strategies to reach the LGBT market,
Yeah.
and it was all around great, event. And yeah, you got to see my paintings in person. There's one hiding here behind me, so they're large paintings. It's not hiding too well, but you can only see the top portion.
Yeah, but I'm going to make sure to direct people online and you've got two sites too. You've got the one, your main one for art, but then, well, actually you have three, but then you have the other one just for where people can buy some of your artwork as well.
Right. So I started that during the pandemic. So, as an artist, I want to always stay true to the work itself and stay in that art world. But then at the same time, people just want to spend like $100 and get a print of this on their wall, like this big, or put it on a tote bag or a puzzle. So yeah, there's another site called Shop Joan Cox Art, but you can get to that from my main website, joancoxart.com. You can just click on shop, and that way, yeah, you don't have to have thousands of dollars to have my art on your walls. You can have it on your phone case or wherever
Yeah.
you want to look at it.
But you mentioned smaller, and it's interesting. I would say one of the things that seems to set you apart is that a lot of your artwork it's full size, very large.
It's large because I want the figures in the paintings to be life size, because when they're life size, they're more relatable. When you go into a museum and you see a massive historical, George Washington crossing the Potomac or something, you can relate to the characters in the painting because that's what they are, really, characters in a narrative. And I want you to walk into a gallery or museum and be struck by my works and relate to the people in them, not just like, oh, that's a painting of XYZ and walk on.
Yeah.
Or it's a painting of a couple. When they're smaller, then they sort of become, I don't know, iconic, universal, figures. But when they're bigger, they're much more on the side of portrait. But mine are portrait mixed with narrative. I'm telling a story and highlighting lesbian relationships on the canvas.
Yeah, that seems to be again large, but also large paintings. But then also, it's you really focus a lot on relationships, kind of showing. I would just say diving much deeper than a lot of folks will do when it comes to the work you put together.
Right. They're really about, I think there's a term that's been coined. It's queer joy.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't even know that term when I started painting the paintings. But they're really about sharing that beautiful intimacy of relationships between women.
Yeah.
And they're meant to sort of normalize our relationships, but also bring our relationships out into the forefront, right? You've got thousands of paintings across history of either just nudes, reclining for the male gaze, or you have, famous portraits of couples, or interesting scenes, whatever's happening. But I mean, how many times, I think I can count on my hand, like one, maybe
Yeah.
two tops, that I've ever seen any kind of lesbian representation in traditional fine art in a gallery, in a museum. And that's really my goal. I'm in a lot of galleries right now. I've been in a few small museum group shows. I'm in a small museum show that opens in September. But getting into those museum shows where a young person, where a teenager, or where a 50-year-old who hasn't even come out yet might see the painting and just really, feel like, wow, that this moment seeing this painting might change my life, or might open a door, or open a conversation in some way with whoever they're with, or with their internal, selves, like, I'm represented here.
I thought it was interesting when you mentioned the male gaze too. It's I was reading some of the interviews you've done in The Advocate and so forth, and but that seems to be a common theme, that you're really also breaking out and representing lesbians in a, not for that old fashioned, erotic male, world that we.
Exactly, right. The little bit of lesbian, either art or novel. So the one behind me, I'll show you the whole thing in a bit, but the title on it, and I don't normally put text on a painting, but this is the title of a Pulp Fiction novel, like from the 60s.
Yeah.
I was once a tomboy, now I'm a full-grown lesbian. Was Pulp Fiction really written for straight men to consume? Maybe some hidden, queer folks to read.
Yeah.
But it was really for, the male consumption of, like, ooh, the fantasy of two women together. And the original, Pulp Fiction novel cover showed two women, like, in the kind of 60s lingerie, those pointy boob bras, and very feminine. And I took the painting into a different direction, where I'm really showing more of a accurate representation of a lesbian in a plaid shirt, a mohawk haircut, not being extremely seductive in underwear in a traditional male gaze kind of way, but in a seductive for women. But we're the people, that's actually me and my wife, where the figures in the painting are they're kind of owning that space. They're not looking away or looking at each other to be observed and ogled. Yeah. They're owning the canvas, like, yeah, this is us, and we'll let you look for a minute into our private world.
Yeah. I love that. You were talking about some of the places you've been, even just for what we have coming up this year. Are there any exciting places some of us should try to get to and attend?
Oh my gosh, it's like my best month ever in history. In the month of September, I am in 6 exhibitions.
Wow.
Across 5 states.
Yeah.
So show opening tomorrow night in Boston at the Mass Art X SOWA Gallery. It's the gallery run by the Massachusetts College of Art and Design, and it's down in the big arts district called SOWA in Boston. Yeah. So I have one painting there in a group exhibition. I have I just dropped off a painting to the New Britain Museum of American Art in Connecticut. It's like the oldest museum that is dedicated only to American artists. That opens next month. It's another portrait of myself and my partner. Yeah. I am in Queens, New York, in a place called the Culture Lab with 2 paintings that opens on Saturday night. Yeah. Baltimore here, we have one of the biggest free arts festivals in the country called Artscape. And it took a hiatus for 3 years due to COVID. And that is back in September. And I've just been curated into the major exhibition part of Artscape in a show called B23, which is really just highlighting the best of Baltimore there with the bees, B23. Yeah. And I probably forgot some. Oh, New Jersey at Montclair, a Montclair studio in New Jersey. I've got a couple paintings, and I just finished up a summer-long Pride exhibition at Baltimore City Hall. So yeah, Baltimore, Boston, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. Wow.
You're doing well. I love hearing all this.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I just paint I want to get the work out in front of people.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is great. And I look forward to being able to reconnect with you in the real world again, since it's been a few years since it was right before COVID, I think, when excuse me, when I was down in Baltimore and was with you guys.
It sure was, right? Yeah.
But mostly I'm just really glad that you're able to take a few moments of your time and share a bit of your story with our audience. And just really look forward to reconnecting soon.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. One of these
Absolutely.
many trips that I have up and down the coast. Just
Good.
dropped off all the art to three spots over this past weekend, and I
Well,
rode right through New York City and grabbed a slice of pizza, actually.
I'd love that. Well, thanks again now.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Take care.
So good.